This is a Bitcoin emergency update. Now, if you saw my video yesterday, there was a very key price target. And if it's unfolding the way it's anticipated, we could see a very fast drop in Bitcoin. And we want to be really aware of it, preparing ahead of time. Remember, we are in a probability game, not a certainty game, and we just always go with the edge. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, because I'm here to serve you. If you don't know me by now, my name is Jagir. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. Been featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008. Trading currencies for 15 years, now exclusively focused on crypto. So let's just dive straight in, because what I want to share with you today is really important. Is we did a video the other day and we said, look, on a macro scale picture, I think we are still on a deeper correction. And if we are still on a deeper correction, we should anticipate a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down. And then we said, this particular chart pattern, we zoomed in and we said, look, this could look like an A, B, C correction, and we could see it ending over here. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So if we jump into our live Bitcoin chart, we'll see, if I just zoom in over here, we have seen a massive surge to this zone. So the price zone that we was talking about the other day, which was this zone over here, is literally this price point over here. And today we're going to get ultra precise, because we're going to look at the daily chart and then we're going to drop down to an hourly chart, which is really important. And if you don't know much about Elliot waves and Fibonacci, it's beautiful for reading the psychology of the market when it comes to fear and greed, right? Profit taking, the typical identifiable patterns in advance. So take my free masterclass on Elliot wave and Fibonacci, and I'll show you how this unfolds time and time again. Around 50 to 60% of the time, we'll see very clear patterns. So if I zoom in, what we said yesterday was we had to move down and we should anticipate an A, B, C correction. And if I just change this over here, we'll see that we're really coming towards this price target, this red line over here that we drew yesterday. Again, remembering we drew this yesterday ahead of time. And what typically unfolds, now I'm not shorting this, but if I was shorting this, I'm going to show you what I would look to do as my entry and as my stop loss. And the reason being is it will give you a clear picture of what you should anticipate to happen. Keep in mind, we're in a probability game, not a certainty game, so no one knows. Also, the caveat is this line here, we said it in yesterday's video, is this price target of 48,300 is a key resistance zone. If Bitcoin breaks above this, which is unlikely, but if it does, then we need to reevaluate, and we need to reevaluate our wave count and everything else, which is a part of the business and the science and the art of trading and investing using Elliot wave and Fibonacci. So if we look at this, it's coming up to this price zone, very important. If we also just draw, so we get it clear, let me even zoom in a bit more. So I want to make it really clear. Let's just zoom right the way in, so it's ultra clear on what we're looking at. It might even be useful if I get rid of these lines, just so we got no distractions, right? This high over here, if I can just peg this high, if I get this line here, give me this line, boom. This here, right, I'm going to make it a bit thinner just so it's not overbearing. Let's just make it a bit thinner over here, bang. So this is the top of a potential wave A. We've had this A, B, C. That was a very deep B, right? And that's a clue. What's the clue? Well, it's saying that the sellers have a lot of power and a lot of strength right now, because typically a correction for a wave B is 78.6%, and you can see it went much lower. It went right the way down. This is the typical, but it went right the way down, even almost tagging the previous support. That's a clue to say, look, sellers are strong right now. Sellers are strong. And now we've got this movement to the upside, which tends to mimic this movement here, right, over here. And now we are reaching this very key, pivotal, maximum time and price zone. Typical is 100%. So what I want to finish on today, and it's important, do take my Elliot wave Fibonacci masterclass, because I talk about wave fives and I talk about ABC corrections, and you'll see them unfold time and time again. So let's just finish up today, because today is really important. And it's important that you know we are looking in advance. This is a leading indicator. We're looking ahead of time. We are preparing. It's not after the fact. We have the information now and we have to make a decision based on the information now. So what's going to really help us, I'm going to draw an arrow here so we can really see it clearly when I drop down to the hourly chart, is this part of the price movement. I'm trying to make sure this is visible on the hourly chart. It is. Brilliant. So I'm going to jump out of this chart. Notice that the weekly in the top left, the momentum is still bearish. So we should still expect 1 or 2 weeks to sideways to down. But I want to jump into this bottom right hand corner, and this is an hourly time frame. What it means is it just allows us to see the swings a bit clearer. Just so you're clear, because you might not be used to using charts, is if I just draw a pink box around here, right around here, and it's just going to show you when I jump into the hourly chart, this pink box is that exact same piece of data, but you'll see there's much more waves. So we're getting a bit more intricate because there's a particular wave pattern that I want to bring to your attention that could give us a massive clue on where we may see a trend reversal for the next leg down. And there's a key point over here that most people would miss. So let me just delete this over here so we get it really clear. So again, we're looking at the exact same data, but what I want to show you is, so we've labeled this as A, this movement to the upside. And I'm going into detail because it's important, you know, there's method to this madness. Then we've got this, what a typical A, B, C of a B, right? That's a typical pattern for a B correction, and it hasn't exceeded this low. And then a wave C structure. A wave C structure typically unfolds into 5 waves, this over here. And that's what we're going to look at next, because when you're using Elliot waves, you can have multiple degrees of counts. What do I mean by that? Well, actually, we're looking at 3 degrees of counts, and I'm gonna outline that for you right now. First of all, if I just zoom out, and this is important, this is really important. What we're saying is effectively, if I just bring up this text box, is we're effectively saying this looks like a wave. I'm going to write it like this so it's clear. A wave 2 of a wave 3. Wave 3. What do I mean by that? So you got we got wave 1, we got wave 2, and then you got a 1, 2 of a wave 3. But then we've got this A, B, C happening, right? So now we can also have a second degree count saying there's a wave 2 and there's a wave C of a wave 2 that we're looking at. I'm just going to do this in a different color. Oh, let me just change that again. What I want is I want a new text box, and I just want to change the color so it's really clear. Sometimes this can get confusing if you're not used to it. So I'm going to draw it out like this so it's really clear. We're saying a wave C, and put a question mark here. Right, I've drawn the wave C down here as well, but I'm just going to make it ultra clear for you. So we've got a wave C of a wave 2 of this larger degree wave 3. But what we're going to focus on now is 1 degree less, right? Remember, wave C's tend to break down into 5 waves, right? And what that looks like is it looks like it's unfolding textbook style. Now, this wouldn't be visible to the untrained eye. So hence I want to really make some, I mean, you'll probably see it once I show it to you. Like, look at this. Oh my God. If we just look at this, this is going to really allow us to pinpoint with very high probability. We're actually going to end up doing 5 degrees of counts because you can see it. Sometimes the pattern just unfolds so clearly. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It just means it's extra highly probable. Very important to understand. So first of all, now we're just focused in on this. Again, I want to make sure we're on the same page. If I just jump back into a daily chart, now I'm going to draw a pink box around this, what we're calling a wave C, right? This here. Yeah? Makes sense? And then I'm going to go back to an hourly chart, and this pink box down here is the same as this pink box up here, right? But the reason we're going to an hourly chart is we can see the more delicate wave movements, which actually is the more intricate psychology of the market. Yeah, the psychology of the market, the buyers and the sellers, the bulls and the bears. And this is going to give us very valuable information. So if you're shorting this, if you're looking to go short or you're looking to take profit, you can use this information the same way, but I'm using Bitcoin as a macro indicator for the entire crypto market. And there's something beautiful happening right now in front of our very eyes, and I'm going to make it crystal clear for you. Do you see a 5-wave structure? Right? So if you don't, let me just wave it out for you, and then we're going to make it incredibly clear. Look at this. We've got this first wave up. You got this wave down, very deep. Then you've got this next wave up, which is often called a wave 3, most impulsive. Then you've got this correction to the downside, and then we look like we've got a 5th wave. But this 5th wave is something very interesting happening as I'm looking at it. Look, it breaks down into a 1, 2, 3, what looks like an ABC, and we're on this final wave 5 of a 5 of a C of a 2 of a wave 3, right? So I know there's a lot of jargon there, but the main thing is we can now project with very, very high probability where this wave is likely to end, and we have these other targets here already. So let's just draw it like this. So now, and I'm doing it like this deliberately. I mean, I covered this in my free Elliot wave and Fibonacci masterclass because it's such a good skill to have, especially with this new token economy, where these tokens have value, they can have more and more utility. We're going to be using this kind of stuff just in day-to-day life. So it's important that this skill, you know, it becomes relatively second nature. So we've got this wave 1, we've got this wave 2, we've got this wave 3, looks like a wave 4, and it looks like we're coming towards a wave 5, right? And I'm just going to pull it over here for just so it's clear, right? I also like to put in a question mark. Why a question mark? Well, it's just to remind us that we don't know. We're in the probability game and not the certainty game. So important to emphasize that because so many people get it wrong. And then if I just get rid of these arrows now, so we got a clear picture. If I just get rid of the waves and we just have the numbers, and we're just going to change it to a micro pop. Yeah, so we've got this wave 5. But then I want to focus on, because then we're going to use Fibonacci, key Fibonacci ratios to really project with high probability where this is likely to end. This part of the market here, look at this. And you'll see this unfold. It's all markets and all time frames. It looks like another 5-wave structure. So it says a 5 of a 5, right? Let me just draw the waves out here so you can see it really, really clearly, right? Do you see that? A 5-wave structure, right? Within a 5-wave structure. So that gives us very valuable information. I'm going to show you exactly now. So we want to project with high probability if Bitcoin is going to reach a wave C high, what happens next? Now, before I do that, I'm just going to show you something. Let me just zoom out. When I'm trading, if I'm trading, what I'm looking for more often than not is one of the most lucrative waves, and it's a wave 3 of a wave 3. Like, Jiggy, what are you going on about? A wave 3 of a wave 3? Like, what? What's a wave 3 of a wave 3? All right, well, this is a wave 1 down. This is what I'm counting as. It's my opinion of the market. Could be wrong, but the probability, because the momentum on the weekly is bearish. We've got certain patterns happening on a macro. So this is wave 1, a wave 2, and I'm saying we're in an overall wave 3, which we expect to go, if I can just zoom out for a second, I expect to go a lot lower around here, right? It might come down to around here. And what we have forming, in my opinion, is, if I can change the color of this next arrow, this part here, I'm just going to change the color of this arrow. If I can change it, let's just change it to, let's change it to blue. Yeah, just so it comes really clear. This part of this arrow, I'm regarding as a wave 1 of a wave 3. We are now looking at potentially a wave 2 of a wave 3, and then a wave 3 of a wave 3, right? And that tends to be a very aggressive move. Normally we're looking at it for the upside, but if I was shorting this, I would look for this as a wave 3 of a wave 3, because they tend to move very, very fast, very, very fast. So we just need to be mindful that we might see a big dip in Bitcoin possibly today, looking at the way it is unfolding. So again, I want to jump back into the hourly chart, because it's very, very precise information now that we're going to go into. So first, we're going to focus on the end of wave 5, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one end of a wave 5 target. And then we're going to look at, after that, is an end of this wave 5 target. And we're looking for a cluster. When you have a cluster of these Fibonacci resistance zones, you'll find that they hold incredible strength from a psychological standpoint. And we already have this one from yesterday's data, this one for the ABC itself, which is a very, very important number. Is 100% of wave A. Hopefully you're with me. If you have watched my masterclass, this will make more sense, but I'm explaining it in a way, hopefully you'll get it, pretty much the wider picture. So what we're going to just quickly do, I'll give you a little mini masterclass here. We're going to measure wave 1 to 3 over here, and this is the typical maximum. So you're going to see a number and a couple of lines that we're going to draw. That's what we're going to pretty much do. So we're going to use this tool here. It's called Fib Trend-Based Extensions. We're going to measure wave 1 to 3, project it from this low here, which is the wave 4 low, and you can see it's clustered right close to this 100%. That gives extra confirmation that it's a really strong resistance zone. And the other minimum that we expect is 62%, which we've already exceeded. So now we've got this zone over here, very important. Then we're going to do next an external retracement. An external retracement, in fact, one more important one, which is more important than external retracement, is wave 1 and wave 5 often equal each other. And the key ratios here is going to be this 1, but also this 1.618. And you'll see that numbers here and here. So we're saying we've got two key zones. This zone here, which we've exceeded already, so it's likely going to be this zone up here, right? So we'll keep both there for now. And then we've got this external retracement, which is more of a confirming Fibonacci ratio. And the two key numbers, if I can just make sure I get that correct. And we're looking at closing. I mean, to be honest, with the bars are not too wide, so it's all right. I'll say with lower time frame, you should be using bars, but the bars, it doesn't make that much of a difference with this chart, so it's okay. We're going to take this external retracement from here to here, and the key numbers that we want is the 1.618. That's saying this is a key number, and 1.272, which is not that relevant, so we can leave this one out. So this is a really key resistance zone. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we can do the same thing, but we're just going to keep it to the main ones for this 5-wave structure here. Right? And remember what we're doing, we're measuring psychology. This here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this, it's almost like fear of missing out. This is like panic buying. This final wave 5, that's a sign of panic buying. And what tends to follow is a very steep pullback. And if that's the case, we need to be aware of it, very aware of it. So we want to look at, because that looks like a bump. Yeah, that looks like the 4 over here. So let's just do the key number here. The key one is going to be the 100% of wave 1 to 3, projected from a potential wave 4 low. And again, the key number is this 100%. So now we've got these two very key ratios. We've got this zone here, which we are at, and then we've got the zone above, which we drew before, and it just coincides, and it gives it more, it's almost more clout, more strength. This zone over here, we can kind of even narrow this one down. We can even delete this one now because it's not as relevant. So now we want to be very aware of this. If the price goes below this point here, now we can make it thick again. Just want to keep it very, very clear. Let's make it even thicker there. If the price goes below this point, I think we may see Bitcoin drop incredibly fast. There might be a few more extra waves within here, but right now this is showing, if I just zoom out now, if I just make sure it's really, really clear, this is showing a structure of a wave C and a wave 5 of a 5 of a C of a wave 2 of a wave 3. I know it's a lot. I know. But this is what is based on. We're measuring psychology. And this, the very fact, and I'm emphasizing this because we want to see this in advance, the very fact that this low here came very close to this low. Normally, this is the typical maximum range, and it went, quite a bit lower. I know it might not look like a lot, but that is quite significant. And normally it's more commonly up here. That just shows that there's a lot of selling power right now. So don't be fooled about this movement to the upside. Unless we exceed that other high, it's very highly likely that we're going to see a reversal. So let's just pull up a momentum indicator here. Let's just see if we can find one that marries up quite nicely on the hourly chart. This one's a bit choppy, so let me just change it to, these are not ideal, but these tend to get the tops relatively okay. So in the next few hours, I mean, right now it's 9:30 a.m. UK time. You know, there or thereabouts, if we get a bearish reversal, I should say when we get a bearish reversal, it will probably coincide. We're at this price and time zone as well, the extreme of this time zone, and yeah, it looks like, you know, textbook, just a 5-wave structure, a wave C of a wave 2 of a wave 3. If that's the case, then we need to be prepared. Like, this will be a good shorting opportunity. I'm not shorting it myself. I know there's a lot going on in this chart. We can clean it up a little bit. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this right now. I don't think it's going to reach these zones over here. So we can get rid of these upper zones. So we can keep the chart. I like to keep the charts as clean as I can. Right? These are unlikely zones. This is also unlikely. Right? And these now are the two. Let me just delete this as well. The two very key zones. I should delete this for now as well. So we've got this very clean wave C. I'm hoping this is making some sense. But the main thing is, it's one of my favorite setups, even though I'm not shorting this one, is this A, B, C structure. This wave, as we saw, has broken down to a 5-wave sequence. That's important to note. The momentum right now, if we just double click on this one, if I get rid of these red arrows, you know, the fast line, the blue line, is in the overbought zone, meaning that when this one, maybe it's going to be, it'll probably reverse a bit lower. It'll probably reverse down here, and it'll probably, you know, really for the next 2-3 days see a sharp decline. Now again, we're in the probability game. We're not in the certainty game, so we need to be aware of that. Anything can happen, but we're just marrying up the probability. Weekly momentum down, pattern, price, time on the daily chart, which is what we've just seen. We went on to the hourly chart, which is in the bottom right, and we've seen this 5-wave structure. You know, if it exceeds this wave low, it's more than likely going to go below this point down here. Probably going to go below this point down here. So I'm emphasizing this because I know there's a lot of noise and a lot of bullish articles, a lot of negative articles, you know, but here we're just being objective. Forget it's Bitcoin for a second. We're just looking at pure psychology of the market. What is the market likely to do based on the price? Price is the ultimate powerhouse indicator. And we're looking at Bitcoin. And if it does this, what we're seeing, I just want to say in advance, you know, we need to prepare for this because we've been anticipating this. And hey, look, I'm okay with it not unfolding like this. That's part of the game of investing and trading. So that's okay. But until we see a price go above this point, there's no real reason to think that it's not going to go down here. And we've got this really important 2 Fibonacci price zones. We've got this time, very narrow time zone. We've got a 5-wave sequence. I'm emphasizing it. I know, you know, we could add a couple of other things, but this is more than enough information. Very, very important. Let me just double check the settings on this. This is the fast setting as well. So there you have it. I don't think I could have made it any clearer. That's my case. My case for Bitcoin. It's an emergency update because I think we're at a pivotal time of a wave 3 on the downside to finish off. Well, it's not even going to be finish off. It's like the big part of the move. Then we'll probably see a wave 4 correction and then a bit more to the downside again. Whew, I know I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Unless you're shorting Bitcoin, then there's no problem. But the main thing is it will probably impact the rest of the altcoins. That's important to know. And if that happens, just be prepared for a bit of a pullback, whether it's 20%, 50%. You know, it might panic the market and there might be a bit of a panic sell. But what that leads to is a lot of opportunity. In fact, let me just dive back into that again because I forgot to mention, you know, because I like to, I'm an optimistic kind of guy, right? And I'm not being optimistic for the sake of being optimistic. But if the market does drop down to this range, you know, the $32,000 range, then the whole market will present a lot of opportunity, and want to be prepared for the opportunity. And then this red arrow, is basically me. What I've been saying for a while is we anticipate a 6-figure Bitcoin later on this year. And if that unfolds during that time, that's going to be really, really valuable for everyone in the whole crypto sphere. But what you should be doing now, what I am doing right now, and it's just my opinion, is defense mode. Defense mode, just be prepared. We might be due a relatively sharp move to the downside, which may panic the markets. And this whole zone down here is a key resistance zone. But I think we'll get a bounce from this point. I don't think it will go much lower than this if it does reach that. And then higher highs to be made to finish off this year on a really, really, really good strong point. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'm here to serve you. I'm working on my tech. Hopefully the sound's getting better. Working on this camera quality. You've got the good camera, but seeing how it works with YouTube. So let's finish on a quote. You know my status by now. All right, I've been repeating this one, but it's important. Chapter 2. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Warren Buffett. Yes. So here, I'm personally in defense mode. Yep, I'm an optimistic guy. I'm bullish on blockchain. I'm bullish on crypto. I see the 5-year, 10-year vision. I think crypto and blockchain is going to revolutionize the world more than the internet itself, because it's decreasing the cost of trust by up to 10,000 times, which means it's removing the middle party in many, many use cases. But right now, we're looking at the price action. Right now, we're looking at the short-term voting placed by buying and selling, right? Just be prepared. Yeah. I hate to be the guy that says, look, I told you so. I'll be delighted if the price just shoots through the roof. Delighted. But again, we're just going with the probabilities. All right. That's enough for today. I will see you soon.